Somebody asked me a question the other day on my other channel about what was your favorite moment in Final Fantasy VII, and it really took me a second to really think about that because honestly, I almost feel like I love every part of this video game because it is my favorite video game of all time, as probably many others, and especially anybody who decided to view this video or at all. They probably think the same, and I really love everything about it. And when I narrowed it down, it was the bombing mission. The opening mission of the game is what I love the most about this video game. I can't tell you how many times I restarted playing the game just because I wanted to simply hear the intro music. I mean, the track is just dynamite. I mean, literally from the beginning all the way to the end. I mean, just the glorified build up from the train sequence, it coming in, and all of a sudden you get Cloud coming in off of the train with this dynamic flip and this most badass anime style back when I was just getting into anime just a little bit. And I was sitting here thinking, boy, this already feels different than any other Final Fantasy VII, because when I usually play Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy in general, I remember it mostly being just knights and tales and stuff like that. And it wasn't that appealing to me because those kind of genres, they feel very skewed towards the white demographic, which is fine, but some representation wouldn't be bad. But as soon as Cloud got off the train and then you got introduced to the character and you can name your own character, that part was really cool. I thought that was really badass. And so obviously we just named them after ourselves usually. And then we got really creative because you started trying to implement your own friends and people that you knew, your relatives, into the game as the game went along. But for just this mission alone, I loved every single thing about it. Like I said, the music, I mean, it just builds up to one of the hypest moments you can find. It made me literally want to go out and just jump through the window. I mean, it got me that excited to play this effing video game. It's literally just a role-playing game. But you immediately jump into battle, you get the upgrade and the graphics as you see, because as you see when Cloud initially pops out, you see that it's just the big blocky polygons. And back when I was really young, I didn't understand what was going on with the graphics, but I liked it. I just thought it was really cool that it looked so much better in battle sequence than it did during the normal gameplay. I figured it had something to do with the system, but I wasn't really sure. But then you get introduced to all the other characters, Biggs, Wes, Jesse, and obviously you get introduced to Barret, the black character, the guy who makes this the best Final Fantasy of all Final Fantasies. Now, I only say that because as a black guy, the Final Fantasy with the black guy is the best one. I'm sorry. I know there was one in 15 or was it 13, I think, but he wasn't Barret Wallace. Barret was different. Now, I missed pretty much all the Ice-T references when I was younger because honestly, Barret just reminded me of a lot of brothers that I knew growing up, whether they were my friends or in my family. They just reminded me of a lot of them. People who could come off a little hostile, but they were completely empathetic and really passionate and just truly genuine people, more intelligent than you would give them credit for, and completely misunderstood. And there were individuals who they were just deeper than what you thought. I mean, when you talk to him, you realize, damn, there's a lot of depth here to this character, and that's what it was with Barret in the game. And he cussed a lot, and I thought that was really funny because a lot of the dialogue seemed to make sense based on me as a black guy thinking I wouldn't really fit into the scenario of saving the world in these like crazy circumstances, but that's what it felt like he was in when he was in this game. And then obviously you get to progress along and you eventually end up fighting the giant scorpion. But as you progress through the reactor, you get all these little different like sequences with the characters. That's really cool. And I don't know. There's just a lot to this mission that really made me excited about this game in general. And it was just things that you can't really replicate. This is truly peak gaming to me. And I don't think it gets better than this. I mean, literally, just once you add a party member and you realize that Barret has a gun attached to his arm, I thought that was really cool too. And I thought eventually you might get to play as like Biggs, Wedge, or Jesse, because I wasn't aware at the time that they are literally in every Final Fantasy game that is created. I don't know about the newer ones as much, but I knew that up to this point that you're going to always have a Biggs, a Wedge, a Jesse, a Craig. I don't know if Jesse's in every one of them, but Biggs and Wedge is in every game. But you always have those, and you usually have a Craig in every Final Fantasy, which is just one of the craziest things. I don't understand it, but they exist. But I don't know. Just tell me how you feel about this game in the comments, because I'm always curious, like especially this mission. What was your favorite moment in Final Fantasy VII? Because I don't know. To me, this truly is peak. I don't think it gets better than this when it comes to gaming. It doesn't. I mean, as the story progresses, you get Cloud having his mental meltdowns, and you start thinking, what the hell is the matter with this dude? I figured he would be okay, but no, Cloud is jacked up. You realize there's something going on with this dude. Then eventually you realize that this man completely hijacked one of his dead best friends' complete identity, which is like, wow, damn, Cloud, I mean, you really are going through some shit. But that's obviously later in the story that you find all that out. Just piggybacking to the beginning, back to the story. You know, you start this game off wanting to blow some shit up. You're going to blow up a reactor. You don't know what the reactor is really made up of quite yet until you know, get to the part where they start diving into the story, which you start finding out is like, oh shit, this is really big what they're getting into. It's about the life of the planet and then etc. And they're trying to save, you know, the citizens of Midgar and do the right thing, even though there's some terrorist group. But you don't really discover that they're the terrorists until after the mission. But, you know, the music shifts from the beginning bombing mission music to the next phase. And I mean, that's when you know that the game has gotten even more serious, which is really cool. And that was an aspect that I always remember, was the tone shift between music to music throughout this game. And then as you progress, obviously going through the reactor, as I was alluding to, or going to allude to, I don't know when I'm going to insert this part because this is just random in it. I mean, this is a random edit, but you know, I really enjoyed going all the way down to the reactor and then just simply seeing Cloud about having a meltdown after you finally discover your first piece of materia, which is really cool, which is restore materia. But you finally see one of those orbs that you get to, you know, use later, but you know, you don't get to use it at the beginning of the game, which, you know, I realized I always forgot about anyway. And I tended to do that. But then, you know, Barrett's over there like, hey, Cloud, get your shit together, because Cloud starts having, you know, voices talk to him and hear things, and he's like, what's going on? He's spacing out already. Now, you know, you could get to the point early, like you might not notice what was happening if you're too young, but I did realize like something was off with Cloud immediately. Then you kind of find out, you realize like Sephiroth was basically infiltrating his mind the entire time, which is a cool aspect that you discover when you get a little bit older than I was, because I'm trying to think of how old I was when I played this, and I wasn't old at all. I'm talking like 8, 9. I was very young when I was playing this game, but I love this shit. This mission was so badass. The fact that you're literally going to blow up this reactor and then you get the little cinematics afterwards, and those were the moments that me and my cousins waited for the most, was just the fact that the game would do the cutscenes and the cinematic, you know, little features that you get to see. Those are always nice because you didn't get that on the previous consoles. So that was just something that you always wanted to see, and we always usually got a little bit of that with parts of this game. And this mission was obviously the very first phase of that. But this just brings up such epic memories of just me sitting around with my cousin playing video games, or both of my cousins playing video games, because we used to get together and just play, you know, multiplayer on N64 a lot, especially when we still had PlayStation, N64, PS2. I mean, we had all the consoles at some point, just at least collectively. So we just had a lot. We spent a lot of time playing games and bonding that way. And Final Fantasy VII just brings up a lot of those memories. I remember when we first played this game, we didn't have a memory card, and we actually left our PlayStation on for like 2 or 3 days just to see how far we can get in the game. And I remember we got down to Rufus, and we got down to Shinra Tower, and we were fighting Rufus, and I think we died. And I think at that point in time, it was like, well, F. I mean, what to do now? I guess we started again. But eventually, the next time we rented a game, we had a memory card. And then eventually, I had the game. And that wasn't too long after that. It's probably a couple months. But I just remember when we finally had the game, it was like, oh yeah, it's effing go time. We get to play this mission again and finally implement everything we want to do it and keep it and save it. God, those were not the days. People will be like, boy, I really miss those days. I don't miss those days where you had to really contemplate which save file from which game that you had that you were going to delete just so you can have a new save file in a game that you loved as well. It's like, damn, I don't want to delete that save file. I don't want to start over. Then you start getting crunched on, you know, space, and then you had to buy another memory card. Memory cards were like $20 to $25 back then, and I didn't have money. I was a kid. I didn't have shit. And just asking your parents to go buy another memory card all the time didn't go over well. Eventually, we were able to acquire some of these for Christmas, and it made it a little bit easier. At that time, though, if you only had like 1 or 2 memory cards, these crunches could be tough, especially if you had games like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy and every other PlayStation great game that there was that existed back then. There was a lot, but I don't know. Please, once again, just tell me what you think about this, you know, mission, or your favorite moments in Final Fantasy VII in the comments. Just curious. Shout out to all the people who have subbed to this channel. I'm simply just gonna be posting videos on my thoughts and shit on this channel about things I love. So I'm curious about what you think, and shout out to you for being here, and I'll see you soon.